super excited to be able to hang out with you guys for 30 minutes and talk about resilience. And I kind of want to take, hopefully, what will be for you, a little bit of a different angle with the subject of resilience. I'm very passionate about when I do something like this that your time is important, and I really want all of you to be able to leave with something. And so I have 3 things that I want to communicate with you today, okay? So the first one is the scariest for me. It's actually a recent tragedy that I worked through and how I worked through it and the outcome. I'm doing that for a couple of reasons that I'll share in a moment. The second thing I want to do is my 25-year career in real estate. I started when I was 18. I'm like 32 now, I think, over 25 years, something around there. Math's hard for me. How I've overcome different challenging markets. And so I'm sharing my story, and then I'm going to share with you 4 significant ways my 100 agent team in Virginia Beach is surfacing business right now. So who I am and applying my past has found ways of surviving lots of other hard markets. And then I'm going to share with you my playbook, 4 things that I'm really excited about. So when you do something like this, when you speak on stage, there's a compulsion to personify someone that always has their act together. I mean, let's be honest. Would you want to listen to me if I was a loser? Like if I was bankrupt and poor and a failure in life? Why would you pay all this money to come hear me? And so we stand here as speakers and we say, here's my resume. Here's why I'm awesome. The challenge with that is none of us are awesome. The most successful people I know, when you get them alone, they're a hot mess just like you, just like me. It's true. We all have our struggles. We all have our pains. We get confused. We get overwhelmed. We don't feel like we have our act together, but we keep it moving. And so I've decided to be vulnerable with you guys. Tom Ferry did a great job. He's been texting me all day. He's like, Barry, be vulnerable, but don't be soupy. I had to Google what soupy meant. I didn't even know, and that meant mawkish. I didn't know what that meant either. I had to Google that. But anyway, he wanted me to be vulnerable, and well, let me ask this: has anybody here read my book, Too Nice for Sales? Show me your hand if you've read my book. I'm not. This isn't an ego thing. Okay. So for those of you that read my book, one of the themes that was very loud and clear is family is very important to me. I prided myself. Yeah, there you go. Prided myself on being a devoted husband. Coached my kids' baseball games. Just actively involved. Normally said no to travel. And a couple of summers ago, some events occurred that I'll just keep general. And I had to make the very difficult decision to end my 17-year marriage. And it wasn't something that I took lightly. There were some circumstances that I discovered that I couldn't get around. And it was as a result of that, I'm sure you've heard the expression, the rug got pulled out from under you. That didn't do it justice. It was kind of like the earth opened under me. And for 3 to 4 agonizing months, I did not know what planet I was on. I remember Howard, you heard him speak earlier, such a fantastic friend of mine. Barry, are you eating, right? G, another friend, Gabe, just all these people that I've worked with for years, being there for me, concerned for my well-being. How many, raise your hand if you know, the people you run with matter, especially during difficult times, right? Can I get some hands in the air? Your circle matters. And for me, my circle mattered. And as I faced this difficult moment in my life, the road to being the 40-something, bitter, drunken loser was never clearer. It finally made sense that when people face really, really hard things, some of them don't react very well. And I would be willing to bet that there's a few agents in this room that you wondered if you should come to this conference. Maybe you put it on your credit card and you said, I really can't afford this. Or you're wondering, do I really belong here? And so as I faced this very challenging moment, I had to figure out who I was going to be in this next version of myself. And so as I faced this horrific series of events that I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy, some incredible things started to occur in my life. I had financial uncertainty. I owned 20 some odd rental properties. I had a thriving $250 million ownership interest in a real estate brokerage, senior executive at Wailopa, all these amazing things. And suddenly it was all like, wait a second, what do I do? And I had to adapt really quickly. I had to merge businesses. I had to let some people go. When I let them go, I would just want to say this, I found them another job. They didn't leave unemployed. They left, they transferred from myself to another person. And the outcome of that financial uncertainty, of having to merge my businesses and streamline my operation, was agonizing, horrific, demeaning, and hard. The outcome of that decision has made me more profitable. I work less. My mind is clearer. I'm doing better work. I hated every second of it. And when I finished, I thought to myself, I should have done this 5 years ago. Same thing with my free time. Week on, week off with my kids. I've got all this free time. So I decided, I don't even know why I did it. Because I'm not flexible, I don't like sweating, I don't like being close to people, I have horrible balance, I'm 6'4". And for some reason, one night, late at night, I booked a hot yoga session. And I flopped around like a fat baby whale for solid 90 days, just like. And then something happened. It's hard to describe. I went from once a week and like licking my wounds the whole week to then 2 times a week, then 4, then 5, and then I wanted a new challenge. And so I added weights. And so then I go to hot yoga at 6 a.m. and I do weights and I lift weights and I'm failing. My body, my muscles are failing. And as I'm doing that, I'm growing. And I've lost 40 pounds in this weird, confusing process of exercise. And I look back and I think to myself, geez, why didn't I do that a long time ago? I could have done it a long time. I didn't have to. I didn't have to gain all that weight. I didn't have to get out of shape. But it was this difficult moment where I decided who I was going to be in this next iteration of my life. Same thing with mindset challenges. Look, I am a massive fan of therapy, okay? Every week for a year, cognitive behavioral therapy. If you have anxiety, depression, confusion, if you're not sure what you should be doing in life, just go to Better. I don't get any money. There's no affiliate deal here, okay? I went to betterhelp.com. The intake form is like 16 questions. I found out in therapy that I had disassociated from feelings for my entire adult life. When things were hard, I manned up and I charged on. And I became wildly successful with that. But this specific challenge in my life, I couldn't do that. Because my freaking kids were involved. And so I couldn't disassociate. I had to physically be there for them. I had to emotionally change. And to do that, I had to figure out my feelings. And now I'm emotionally intelligent. I understand feelings and I hate them. I don't know how you guys do it. Being angry sucks. It's way easier to numb yourself and ignore hard feelings. It is. But part of the change in my life is I was eating my entire adult life. Food made me happy. And so I wasn't eating because I was hungry. I was eating because it made me feel good, which made me gain the weight. And so now it's like this horrible, tragic event in my life is now making me mentally, emotionally, physically healthy. I went through a horrible set of circumstances. Of course I'm going to question, where the heck is God in all this? Not to preach at you guys, but I've really struggled with that. Why do bad things happen to good people? And I latched on to a story of Joseph and how he got crapped on. I won't go through the story, but man, his family sold him. He was in prison for false accusations. And he said at the end, it all worked out for good, basically. And that reinvigorated my spiritual walk. Why am I telling you this? Why did I just share something that personally I'm embarrassed by? I shouldn't be. It's not my fault. I didn't cause any of it. but I'm not comfortable doing that. Why did I just do that to you? I am hoping that I just related to some of you that I am human just like you, and I am walking it out, and I am successful as a result. And for a lot of you, you want to start converting leads, and you suck at it. You want to grow your business, and nobody wants to join your firm. You want to grow, you want to knock on doors, you want to convert some leads, and you are horrible. And you think something's wrong, and you're trying to buy your way through it. You're saying, well, maybe this next thing, maybe that next thing, right? Maybe this. As cool as AI is, well, guess what? You're still going to have to talk to the human. They're still going to not answer the phone the next day when they set the appointment. You're going to have to be compelling. And you're going to think something is wrong with you. And what I want to tell you is the challenge you're facing is the opportunity. For you guys that can't convert leads, let me use that as an example because it's very common. You call 100 people. You only get 20 on the phone. All of them tell you why they're not interested. And you get off the phone that day, you're angry, you're frustrated, and you think there's something wrong with your leads. The leads are crap. Instead of saying, you know what? I need to figure this out. I need to buy a book. I need to be uncomfortable. I need to do better scripting. I need to figure out how to convert the leads. And for some of you in this room, you're going to do that. You're going to figure it out. And then people are going to come to you and say, oh, how'd you do it? How'd you get so good at converting leads? Like, you walked it out. You struggled through it. If you're not profitable right now and you have to streamline your business like I did, you're going to hate it. I hated it. And then a year later, you might be on stage telling people, I hated it, but man, now I'm making millions. And people will wonder, how'd you do it? What are you working through? And so I need you to stop mystifying your struggles and making them bigger than they actually are. We are all struggling. You know what? Let's have a transparent moment. If you are struggling with anything personally or professionally in your life, anything at all, I want you to raise your hand, and I'm raising my hand right now. All right, you don't need to look around the room. We got like half, at least half, maybe 60% of the room said, you know what? I got something going on in my life. And you probably think you don't fit in, that it's your dirty little secret. And if anybody found out who you really are, they're not going to want to talk to you. What if that struggle that you're facing is the exact thing that's going to make you a success? I've done this my entire career, except in 2008. In 2008, the market changed overnight. Home values dropped in my market by 30% in a matter of 30 days. And I just, from 2001 to 2007, you stuck a sign in the yard? Man, you got like 6, 7 sign calls. This is going to tell you how long I've been doing this. I had a file folder. Each page of the contract had a white, a yellow, and a pink copy. I had to go to a payphone. Those are those things you put money in. Actually, silver circles. You put silver circles in something, and you had to dial this number, and then you had to hold your black E key just like this, and it would go, and then for the day, you could open up houses, right? So 2008, that's what I was doing. If somebody wanted to sell their house, I was like, okay, yeah, I'll come over. And I did what I always did. They said, I want to sell the house for $200,000. I said, okay, we can try that. Like, your neighbor sold it for $150 last week, but I know that 6 months ago it sold for $200, so we can try. All year long, I said yes to every listing appointment. I said yes to every list price. I said yes, 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 yes. And no lie, you can check my tax records. I made $1,500 in the year of 2008, and I racked up over $60,000 in credit card debt buying groceries, putting gas in my car. It was because all year long, I was waiting for things to go back to the way that they used to be. If I can just map this out, if I can just keep going, things will go back to normal. So 10 out of 10 listings, I said yes. Meanwhile, I don't know if Dale Archdeacon's in the room, but I'll embarrass him. Meanwhile, Dale Archdeacon knows over in wherever, Ohio or wherever he was, he's saying, you know what? I'll take your listing, but you need to bring $50,000 to the table to be able to sell it. He was having the hard conversation up front. He adapted to the challenging market and made a script change. And you know what? I don't know his numbers, but I would be willing to bet 7 or 8 out of 10 said no thank you. I'm gonna hire Barry. Or agents like me that would say yes, whatever you want to do. But you know what? Dale did all right that year. He made money. Meanwhile, it took me 2.5, 3 years of working side jobs to support my real estate habit. I sold insurance. I sold steel buildings. If you read my book, I wrote all about it. And for me, I was a week away from bankruptcy in 2008. I remember calling my dad, being like, Dad, I think I got to file bankruptcy. He said, son, that's an atomic bomb on your credit. If you think you can make it another month, just wait. And he was right. 2010, 2011, REOs started to happen. And I saw those opportunities, and I didn't know how to do REOs. I really don't like taking pictures of toilets. Normally there's feces in them. I don't know if you've ever been an REO agent, but it's really gross, okay? And you have to take pictures. It's really important. They want pictures of the toilets. Any other REO agents in the room ever did that? Yeah, so you guys know what I'm talking about. It's horrible. But it's like in life, I realized, I said, you're not going to always get a good opportunity. And just like a good pitch in baseball, when you get it, you swing and you swing as hard as you can. And so in 2011, I sold 125 homes by myself with no staff, with no assistant. If you've done the math, thank you. That's over 10 to 12 to 13 homes a month. While I was doing that, one of the sign calls was the owner of a large regional mortgage company that really liked my work and said, hey, we're about to buy 500 to 1,000 homes over the next 2 to 3 years. Would you be willing to be my agent? Yes, right? So I get that opportunity, and I'm working 70 hours a week. I bought 11 homes in 1 year because I saw the opportunity. I made my first $1 million after the result of almost filing bankruptcy in 2008 because I saw a new opportunity and I pressed into it. Ever since that moment, it does not matter what's going on in the market. I'm going to be just fine. I've decided that if there is a successful real estate brokerage in America, in Canada, or anywhere in the world, I will be on that list, and I will freaking figure it out. In 2012, I had to scale. I didn't want to work 70 hours a week. I wanted to be present for my family, so I hired people. And from 2012 to 2018, my team sold hundreds, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700 homes a year. It continued to grow, and that presented with all kinds of new challenges that I walked in gratefully. I didn't complain a bit because I remembered 2008. I remembered losing everything or almost losing everything. And so then in 2020, you guys remember quarantine, right? That was, what did the news say all the time? It felt like it was every 10 minutes. Unprecedented. We all had to stay home. My market for 4 months, my agents had to stay home. I said, man, y'all, look, I remember the huddle, and I said, I don't know what's going to happen. The government said we're allowed to leave our house. We're essential services, so we're going to roll with that. I know y'all don't want to meet humans right now. So here's what we're going to do. Zoom wasn't a verb yet, right? It wasn't popular. And so when my agent spoke to the lead and follow-up boss over the phone, they said, look, we want to do a video call with you. Well, how do you do that? We're going to send you a friend request on Facebook. I want you to download Facebook Messenger. They trusted Facebook, right? They didn't trust us yet. There's a new relationship. Guys, we crushed it selling homes via Facebook Messenger. Everybody was sitting on their hands, waiting for the unprecedented moment to end. Meanwhile, I'm like, man, this feels like 2008. I am not doing this again. I'm going to adapt. I'm going to pivot. I'm going to figure it out. And there's a lot more that I could have added, but I want to show you guys what I'm doing right now. But 2022, we've got high rates, right? We've got low inventory. We've got challenges that we're facing, and you want to romanticize the old times. I remember way back when, if I just wait it out, I'll outspend, I'll recruit through it, right? Meanwhile, I'm going to figure out where the money is, and I'm going to chase it and crush it. My first challenge in my market is there's not enough seller leads. The problem with seller leads is sellers don't like talking about selling. It's annoying. It is the antithesis of pleasure, selling your home. We call retail therapy because it's fun to shop. And so buyer leads are coming on your website in droves. Meanwhile, you're like, man, I need some seller leads, right? What we decided to do is we decided to focus on converting our buyer leads into sellers. My best seller lead right now is someone that wants to move. Interestingly, and I didn't do a slide here, but Ylopo asked all the buyer leads, do you need to sell before you buy? And I knew what was going to happen, but we did it anyway just for data. 93% of the buyer leads said no. I don't need to sell before I buy. So then I went to G. I said, look, can we ask a second question? To the 93% of people that said they don't want to sell or don't have a home to sell, can we ask them, do you want to use, this is a really good question, so write it down. Do you want to use the equity from the sale of your home as a down payment for your purchase? So these are the people that said, no, I don't need to sell before I buy. We say, oh, okay, cool. So do you need to use the equity from the sale of your home as a down payment? 37% said yes and gave us their home address. The thing is, if somebody just had a baby and they've got 2 bedrooms, yes, 7% interest rate sucks. Yes, low inventory and multiple offers sucks. But you know what sucks more? Not sleeping, right? Not having an extra bedroom so that you could actually lock away and protect yourself. There are still people moving. And these people that are buying are fantastic seller leads. And so in your buyer scripting, whether you do it through digital forms with your lead gen providers or you do it through scripting, you need to start asking these questions. Hey, have you thought about selling the home that you're in? You need to bring it up because those are going to be your best seller leads. Another challenge we had is the cost of leads. It's gone up. There are less people searching for a home, which means there are less people on Google searching for a home, which means your budget doesn't stretch as farther. That's why your lead volume in some areas and some lead sources has gone down. So for me, I have gone gangbuster since 2016 in building my database. I've got 267,000 leads in my follow-up boss. I heard Howard speak on growing your database like 10 times, and finally I was like, screw it, I'm just gonna go for it. And I haven't stopped. Okay, if I say the phrase dynamic remarketing, raise your hand if you're not 100% sure what that is. I want to know if I should talk about it. Dynamic remarketing. All right, I could go either way. I'll just do the short version. Imagine Facebook went to Nike and said, hey, Nike, I want to put your shoe catalog on my website, on Facebook. Can you upload it, right? And we'll track everybody on Nike.com if they're logged into Facebook. So then what happens is Nike then does that. When someone goes to Nike.com, they look for a $200 pair of black Nikes in a size 9. Facebook goes into that shoe catalog, finds other shoes that are a size 9 for $200, and pushes it in the news feed. I can get an old lead back to my website with dynamic remarketing for about $1.50 per lead. My cost per lead has gone up. Dynamic remarketing for me hasn't. There are 5 vendors that I'm aware of in America that offer dynamic remarketing. Not everybody does listings. The National Association of Realtors pushes out a study every year on the home buyer survey. Overwhelmingly, buyers want more pictures of houses. Give them what they want. Yes, you're cute. Yes, you do great videos. It's amazing. Do those things. Give them what they want, though. They want houses. Give them more houses to shop for, and when you're talking to them, ask them if they have a home to sell. 3 things that I did to build my database. I use LinkedIn. LinkedIn, to my knowledge, is the only social media platform still that allows you to do a mass export from their platform. So you go into LinkedIn, you do export, you export your contacts. I used my LinkedIn solutions. I grew my database, and they're not paying me to say any of that or anything like that, but to like 22,000 people. My LinkedIn. I exported it, I uploaded it to Facebook ads, and we've sold 3 transactions as a result of that data batch, right? You can export your contacts from your email. If you have a phone number or an email and you import it into Follow Up Boss and then import it into a dynamic remarketing platform, the phone number or the email address will match a Facebook account if it does match, and then they're going to start to see houses. I'm scaling my business off of this. My most profitable list in my CRM right now are leads that are older than 30 days that won't stop looking for a home on my website. That's my most profitable list. And I have leads over, 15 years old, maybe 12 years old in that list. But it's because they never stop looking. The script we use with this list, this is another good one, is that we have an admin vibe. We're like, hey, didn't know if you ever found a home. I was going to remove you from my database. But I didn't see in the notes if you ever found anything. A third of the people that answer the call that are old leads that are still looking, and we say to them, did you ever find a home? Say, no, we haven't. We act surprised. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. You've been looking forever. What happened? And we get an appointment. It's a crazy profitable way to find leads in the market right now. Appointments. Your agents or you are getting appointments. And the appointments typically end with like, okay, I'll send you some information. And you need to monitor that if you're a business owner. You need to monitor, are the appointments that your agents are receiving, both from you and on their own, what is the outcome? Is it producing revenue for your business? And for me, I'm using Maverick to do that. But for me, what it's allowed me to do is an agent comes to me in my office and says, Barry, I'm thinking about leaving real estate. Has anybody had any agents in the last 6 months on their team say that? I have. I'm thinking about it. And I would say, I hear you. It's hard. But I'm not going to let you just die on the vine. I hear you say it's hard. I hear you say maybe it's not for me. I'm going to make you confront your decision and your lack of effort in your own business. Let's pull up your appointments. And we go through the agent's appointments over the last 60 days. And I say, this one you met, I don't see any follow-up. How come? And I'm using one of many examples. Oh, well, she just wasn't ready. I don't want to be pushy. And then I get to coach them. And I'm like, you're being selfish. You care too much about them liking you and not enough about you serving them to get them to go look at a home. You're concerned that if you push them too far, they'll get mad at you, and you are motivated by your lack of or your concern for your own ego. Because I'm able to drill down into their appointments, right? Not just their calls, but their face-to-face appointments. Because I'm monitoring it, I'm going deep with what I have, right? Another way I'm doing this is poor lead nurture. This is a problem. I had my ISA call 600 cold stage leads recently. I jokingly say cold stage leads are where the leads go to die. They talk to them. Oh, the agent claimed it. We got to leave it alone now. Meanwhile, transaction count is down. I got to figure out how to make money. You see the theme here? I'm deciding not to be gloom and doom. I'm doubling down on everything that I'm doing. I'm scrutinizing every opportunity and squeezing every grape to get the juice out of every single one of them. And another one is, a lead called you back, Agent Johnny. And 2 hours have gone by and you haven't gotten to them. It saddens me to tell you that this is still an ongoing struggle that I have. Agents are busy. We love and we hate the inbound phone call. We love it because we get to talk to somebody. We hate it because we're at the grocery store and our popsicles are melting. It's annoying. Meanwhile, as a business owner, I've got to figure out how to get my agent to talk to the lead when they finally decide to call back. And so I'm leveraging a platform to manage that. You can do this also in Follow Up Boss. You can go through, there's appointment met reporting. The reporting functionality in Follow Up Boss is fantastic, right? And so for you guys, you just have to figure out where you are. The solution to nudge these agents, for me, a 38% increase in lead nurture follow-up for my team. When my ISA called the 600 cold stage leads, 10%. So the script was, just so you guys know, hey, we're calling to see how your agent's doing. Because these are my agent's leads. They claimed them out of the pond. They're their leads. We don't prospect my agent's leads. So we called to say, how's the agent doing? 10%, 60 transactions out of the 600 cold stage leads said, man, the agent was great. So kind, always helpful, never pushy was the theme. So annoying. We ended up going with another agent at open house though. Millions in volume, right? And so I had to figure out how to do this. And so for us, our response time is now back down to 5 minutes or less, but our cold and warm lead nurture has increased by over a third. That's revenue in my pocket. Again, going back to the theme of doubling down. Skip that, we've already gone over that. So in summary, not enough sellers, I found new sellers. Lead costs went up, I leveraged dynamic remarketing. Transaction count down, I nurture leads closely, right? And so finally, what I want to ask you guys is, what is the problem you're facing right now? A lot of you raised your hand. Tom Brady is considered like the GOAT greatest of all time of quarterbacks. And he has a 3-minute video where he talks about he never came on a football team, high school, college, and pro, and was the obvious starter. He was always the backup to the backup. And he summarized it by saying the main quarterback, the head quarterback, would get 20 reps with the team in practice. The backup would get 10. Tom would always get 2. And he would go to his coach and say, how am I supposed to get better if I'm only getting 2 reps with the team? He was frustrated. He wanted to quit in high school, in college, and as a pro. And he said, what I decided to do with those 2 reps was I went out there like it was the freaking Super Bowl. I was like, all right, you're saying all the football things, I don't know. But he basically was super excited about it, got the linemen all excited. Everybody was pumped up when Tom was on the field. So the coach said, you know what, I like your energy. We're going to give you 4 reps. And then he went out, same energy with those 4 reps. He went after it, he did the thing that he was supposed to do. And then he went to 10 reps. And we know the story. The winningest football player, quarterback, 7 Super Bowl rings, 3 MVPs. Nobody's ever come close. And he was always the scrub. He decided to do what he had to do. So I want you guys all to stand with me for just a second. I'm actually over time. I'll just end with this. It's going to feel really cheesy. I'm going to tell you that already. Something I've learned. I started doing ice baths, and I'm not a person that likes cold baths. It's very uncomfortable. And I just started talking to myself. I can do hard things. And I literally would say it out loud to myself. And now I've got a membership to the freaking ice bath. It's the weirdest thing. And so what I want to end with is I want you to say as firmly, as confidently and with conviction, on 3, I want you to yell at the top of your lungs, I can do hard things. So after 3, we're going to all yell, I can do hard things. All right? 1, 2, 3. I can do hard things. Thank you very much. You guys have a fantastic rest of the day.